no, that's not it. Okay.
We have a special guest. My mother-in-law.
Don't mind
Michael's mom.
I'm not all together, but I clean up well.
And we are doing a mukbang. Mukbang.
Mukbang.
Mukbang.
Listen. Mukbang.
Whatever it's called.
We about to muck it up.
We are eating 14 pounds of crawfish.
Did you have to tell them how many pounds?
Did. They need to know that we could it up.
You can't curse.
We have our spicy crawfish from...
Oh God. Was it the lost crab?
Something Cajun.
The lost Cajun? The lost soul?
Lost Cajun? The last Cajun? The last Cajun?
It was something was lost. I know that.
Something about a Cajun lost, whatever.
It was lost.
And we got an extra
because we actually got lost going there. So we did. We really did.
And it's extra hot, so you know. So just it's hot. But we have onions in here. Corn. Garlic. Potatoes. And everyone knows you can't have crawfish without Jesus. That's hot.
Butter.
A butter sauce.
Yes.
We made it homemade. Can't tell you what's in it because Jamala actually did it. Because I tried and then I burnt the garlic. And,
epic fail. You know. We should have recorded that.
It's fine. It's fine. We don't need all that.
Who burns garlic?
So without further ado, before we get into this video, we need y'all to do one thing right quick. Okay, cool. Now we are going to eat the crawfish.
Woo!
Okay. I'm already
Are
gonna
you
eat
ready?
this piece.
Really? Did you go before me?
Well,
look.
she took my big crawfish.
Okay, so here's the deal. It's the corn right here. Don't cross the corn, sis. Just don't do it. Why you get the butter on your side?
Oh, when you put it in the middle.
Can you move this up? Like, don't be unfair.
And we have our disposed tray up here. So you're gonna see
we've got
flying
hand sanitizer, we've got our drinks here, and we got extra seasoning on the side because we just like seasoning. I dip everything in butter. Everything. Okay, this is good.
So real talk, what'd you do if you're about to eat a crawfish and the whole thing just come alive in your hand? And they knowing damn well
okay, listen, boiled. I love crawfish so much, I probably would run him to the microwave and heat him up until he's finally gone.
Heat up a crawfish in the microwave?
Dude, whatever. It's just gonna have to happen. I can't eat that stuff. Nasty!
So how do y'all feel about this murder hornet that has made its way
oh my God.
to the United States?
Okay, so here's where I'm fearful, right? Houston already has bugs the size of the murder hornet. Did you see that huge bumblebee that chased me the other day?
The bumble, I promise you, was about this big flying. Talk about
it was bad. It was about the size of this tail, literally, and big and dark. I don't know if it was blue, black, or a dark green, but it was huge.
But aren't bumbles blind?
Now I'm not gonna tell that lie because I don't know.
But you said when we were outside, bumbles are blind.
Did I say that?
That's what you said.
Don't believe everything you hear.
So that means they're not blind.
I don't know.
So I should have ran scared.
She should have. I did, and left the children outside.
Just left them.
Hey, listen.
Left noodles at the door and slammed it closed.
They don't noodles?
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay, so I left my grandbaby. Listen. My thing, you better get it how you live. Get up in that dough, okay? I ain't got time for all this. I can't save no souls.
But back to this murder hornet, right? I'm trying to figure out how this little dude, he ain't little, this giant man,
it's a whole man. Did you almost waste the whole?
That was almost to a fail. Got here from Asia. How far away is Asia from the United States?
Far. Let's just say far.
Because really they were saying he could have gotten in one of the shipping containers. But how long does it take the shipping containers to get from Asia?
And the fact that he lived, if that's the case, the fact that he lived that long, which means he's a soldier, because he didn't have no honeybees to eat. By the way, they pulverize honeybees and their hives.
And feed them to their young.
They do. Actually, they feed the larvae and the the pupae, the pupa.
The pupils?
You know what I'm saying. They feed it to their young. So it's not, oh my God, it's not the actual honeybee.
I don't know.
They snatched the honeybee's head off in this extremely large world of ours, North America alone. How do they propose finding a couple of hornets or wasps or whatever these Asian bugs are? How do they propose finding such small things in such a big land?
I don't know.
What do they use for that?
I don't know, but what I do know is if they're only in Washington, isn't Washington state predominantly cold?
Now see, again, you ask some questions I know not the answer to.
Because I think it is. And Texas is hot. So since Satan's booty cheeks are hovering over Houston, Texas.
Booty cheeks.
This must mean we're fine from the bug.
Oh, so they don't like heat. Is that what they're saying?
I'm just gonna guess that because I could have sworn that Washington State is a cold state. It's mostly.
So what about this thing for the inmates that have been released, and over the course of the last week, they have been apprehended, pulled over, caught, everything you could think of by the authorities for committing some of the very same crimes that they were in jail for and getting off with citations. How about that?
I think that that's going to cause a big issue with people now thinking they're going to get away with things, and their crimes are going to go from small things like committing what they did before, whether it be Grand Theft Auto, something like that, to killing people and thinking they can get away with it. 'Cause in this case, if you're going to commit a crime and steal a car, you might as well kill somebody, because are they just going to give you a citation?
I'm guessing.
And all the sex offenders they let
Oh
out?
my God, they let go of 7. As a matter of fact, one of those 7 lives within a mile of one of my play daughters back in Long Beach, California, and she called me the other day before I even knew that sex offenders were released and asked me what was she supposed to do about turning this person in because he's a registered sex offender. And it's unfortunate, my response was nothing, because they let him go, so therefore they're not going to do anything. That's disheartening. That's scary.
I don't know if they're trying to purge without calling it the purge, or what it is. Y'all, let me tell you what happened yesterday. Because Tawana, I know you watch our videos, so yes. We were in the car going to where were we going to? Get some summer sausage and rat cheese.
Rat cheese!
And we stopped at a gas station, okay?
It's cheddar cheese.
And there was this man in the car in front of us getting gas wearing a beanie. Keep in mind it was about 9,892 billion degrees like it is in Houston often.
0.8.
And he's wearing this whole beanie.
A beanie.
So we're in the car laughing because Tawana pointed it out, right? Why did
The guy.
we get out of the car? The guy looked at us and said, I thought y'all was laughing at me. And Tawana said, yeah, we were.
Oh my God!
So of course I have to get out now because I've got to go do the transaction to do the gas. And now you're looking at me like,
Bruh.
You were laughing at me, bitch? Like,
And I just didn't know what to do with that.
you know you're the pot of our queen. I don't really care for potatoes. I can live without bread, potatoes.
Girl, she looked like a sack of them.
The grandmother. I can live without bread, potatoes.
Is it hard?
Was it hard? Oh my
Oh,
God.
they wrong for that.
Is it a ball?
Oh my God.
Okay, so they get a strike for this potato.
Y'all fed me a hard potato.
Okay, so we really gotta find out the name.
You gotta be quicker than that.
Did you drop it? She dropped it. This isn't hot. I'm gonna put some on my side right here. Okay.
Did y'all see? Y'all probably didn't hear about it, but I'm gonna tell you about it. That white lady who called Papa Legba.
It was a white little girl, white girl.
This is a very messy situation.
Y'all.
And
She called Papa Legba, and then she went under. Shit.
Under the sea.
that's not funny. It's a true story.
No Papa Legba for me. She wanted some help.
Be careful who you call, sis.
So she went to the voodoo trickster king.
Be sure you can to them. They don't like to be called out of their shit.
And he said,
I'm not even
eh.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
I used to work for this collection agency, right? And there was a young lady that worked there with me, and she was in a rather peculiar relationship, married, and was being abused. And so, like, it was things like she would literally have to take pictures of her time card to prove to him when she clocked in and clocked out of work. Like, that's how bad it was. So, apparently his mom
Whoa. You had a side to not pass the corn.
Okay, here.
You all up in my spaces and my faces.
Do that. Oh my God, she took my big one. That's okay. I'm almost full anyway. By the time I tell this story, I'm done. So, his mom had apparently a big influence on the relationship. So, one day, the mom sends a gift to the house. And the gift is this stick. And on the stick, it has like different types of artifacts and faces. It's got a snake on it, a tongue, an eye. Really weird stick. If anyone who knows anything about the history of voodoo and hoodoo, you would know that it's from that particular culture. Excuse me. So she gets it. She doesn't discard it because obviously her abusive husband is like, my mama gave it to me. We're keeping it. So the stick's in the house. They have a 9-10-month-old daughter who doesn't talk. So one day, this young lady comes to work and she reports on this day that she saw a pillow levitate. Now put a pin in that.
Out of there like swimwear.
In the midst of all of this, her and her husband bring in an Indian fellow, pure Indian, Native American, Native Indian, allowing him to live with them. I don't know what his story was, but he came to live with them temporarily. So there's this Indian there, and if anyone knows anything about the Indian heritage, they do a lot of spiritual work. So this is something that probably wouldn't have been new to him. So one time she comes into work and she says, "Oh my God, things are weird at home. So I could have sworn last night I saw a pillow levitate." And I said, maybe it was the shadow in the house, it was dark, maybe the light illuminating from the television. So I give it all these excuses. I count it out, dismiss it, no problem. About a week later, she comes to work and she says, "My daughter said a word." I said, "Well, she isn't even one, so that's pretty cool. What did she say?" She said the word devil.
Ooh.
So, again, I minimize it and I say to her, nah, couldn't be possible. Kids coo all the time, and sometimes we can misinterpret that cooing for a word. So she probably was saying something like, and you misinterpreted it to be the word devil. So I minimized it, went about my way. So now, about a week later, she comes to work, and at this time I drove a little cute Geo Tracker. You guys remember those trucks? Mine was drop top, fire red, and it was a beautiful day, and I got off early that day, and she got off the same time that I did. And so she asked me, could I give her a ride home? Her house was literally maybe 3 miles from my house, so it was perfect. So I told her, yeah, I can give you a ride home, no problem. So we get off work, and we're driving home. We go over the Beltway, heading into Ecotones. And it's sunny and like beautifully 90-degree, wind breeze blowing, blue sky, white clouds, just like this. It was picturesque, it was beautiful. And I remember this like it was yesterday, but this was like the mid-90s. And we get off, and now we're on 249. So when we get to 249, I get to 249 and I want to say Antoine. And I'm at the light. And when I'm at the light, where I was sitting was still this sunny, blue, bright, beautiful summer day. And immediately across the light was dark as night, to the point I could barely see the cars on the road. In that darkness, I see this sheet of rain pretty much walking toward me. So I figured, this is Texas weather. I minimize all this, right? I said, it's Texas weather, so I'm kind of full, KK.
I got to fart.
Oh, damn it. She said she has to go fart. I don't care if she knows I told you that or not. She's gross. So in the process, so I'm thinking, you know, minimizing, I'm saying, okay, it's just weather, and sometimes it comes like that it starts like that, and then it'll eventually just kind of graduate into the rest of the city, and everything will turn dark. So it's funny because all while I'm at this light, that darkness or that rain stays across the street, never comes over onto my side. And we were at the light, I know, a good 2-3 minutes. Normally when it's a moving storm, it moves within seconds. Not this case. Light turns green, I go past the light. I get into this dark storm. When I say it was horrendous, it was bad. And I'm not making this up. This is a true story, I promise you. And I get into the storm, my poor Jeep, and by this time, I pulled over because I had to put the top on to my Jeep. So it takes me like literally 10 seconds to put the top on and latch it in. So it was one of those fold backs. And so I popped it and went about my way. The wind is shaking my Jeep and rattling my Jeep. So we pull in, she lived in a trailer park. So we pull into the trailer park, and so I tell her, I said, can I sit in your house for a second? Because I'm afraid to drive my Jeep in this weather. I'm afraid it's gonna flip my Jeep over. So of course she says, Tanita, yeah, come on, you can come in, you can have a seat. Come on in, you're welcome. So I go into the house. Immediately upon going in, I feel this kind of uneasy feeling. I don't say anything, whatever. The Indian guy is there. Very calm person, looks like, you know, spoke very polite. And her husband wasn't there. So I go in and I sit on the couch. So when I sit on the couch, I'm pretty much just waiting for the storm to pass, but I can tell you that this storm was rocking her trailer so hard, I felt like the trailer itself was going to tip over. I honestly thought that the spirit of this particular weather, when I walked outside, once it subdued, whenever that might have been, my Jeep was going to be on its back. That's how bad it was. The pictures were beaten against the walls. It was crazy. So what happened was, I'm telling her, like, as soon as it dies down, I'll be able to go. She was like, well, it's okay. You're welcome. You don't have to rush. I'm fine with that. Meanwhile, I'm sitting on the couch, and the couch is facing the front door. Remember, it's a trailer home, so the front doors are pretty much an entranceway right into the living room. So I'm sitting in front of the front door, and I look up at the threshold of the front door, and there's this cross, a man-made cross, looks like it was a DIY cross, that was hanging above the door. And this cross looked like it was made of straw, some other stuff, some string, some twine. It just had a whole lot of concoctions going on, but nonetheless, I knew it was a cross. When I looked at it, the first thing that fell out of my mouth was, what in the hell is that? Why I said that, I don't know, because it just didn't, I knew it was a cross because of its figure, but it just wasn't right. And I was born and raised in church, understand it, believe in God. So, I don't know, it just kind of baffled me. And in the midst of asking that question, I felt an entire body enter into my body and have a seat in my chest. Like you could actually see that thing happen for real. Like it literally, whatever it was, this entity entered me and just took a seat in my spirit. And my body immediately got heavy, heavy, heavy. Fear, I was beyond fear. So immediately I started singing a song called God's His Son. They called him Jesus. He came to love because he lives, because he lives. That song. So I started singing that song. And I was singing it, and I was singing it hard. He can face tomorrow because he leaves all my fears. I was singing, and 30 seconds, 45 seconds into that song, the storm ceased. Stopped. Sun came back out. It was like it was never raining. I kid you not. I swear to God. So when I sit there, it stopped. The house was still. The Indian guy looks at me and he says, you felt it, didn't you? Couldn't answer him because my fear was up here and I was numb and I had become moot because I didn't understand what was going on with me. All I knew to do spiritually was to sing that song. Words were beyond me at that point. So when the storm stopped and the house got still, I looked at my friend and I said, okay, I have to go. So she's crying at this point. So she knows that I'm leaving. So I go, I get in my Jeep is fine. I get home. My mom is old school and she comes from a lot and she knows a lot, especially in the realm of spiritual work and all of that. My family's deep Louisiana, so it's in South. And so I call my mom, she's at work. She was an RN at Texas Children's around this time. And so I call and I'm crying in the phone and she's like, what's wrong? And I said, Mama, and I told her what happened. And in the middle of my story, she says, I already know. She says, the hair on my arms are standing up. She says, but I want to tell you this. Whatever it was, it did not want you, but it wanted to warn you never to go back to that house. So I said, but Mom, I still feel it. She said, yeah. She says, it'll go away. 3 days. 3 days. Like in the Bible, 3 days, he rose again. She sounds like she's at work. She is. She's up.
Mike.
3 days, it stayed on me. I was awake for 72 hours. Every time I went to fall asleep, put my head down, it felt like somebody was literally grabbing my shirt and lifting me up out of my sleep. She's up. And so I couldn't sleep. I mean, anytime I couldn't sleep on my back. To this day, I can't sleep on my back because it feels like something is pulling at me. It's weird. But so I couldn't sleep on my back, on my side, on my stomach. I tried every position. I tried sitting up in a chair for 72 hours. I couldn't sleep. Whatever this spiritual force was, it did not move. So it had begun to work on me and my mom, because my mom comes in the house on the 3rd day and she's like, and she sees my face. I'm wired up. I'm wide awake. I am sleep deprived, but I can't fall asleep. So I literally look like I'm addicted to some type of drug of which I had taken nothing. I hadn't even eaten. 3 days. So my mom comes in and the first thing she says to me is, I hope you haven't started using drugs. I'm literally arguing with my mom going, no, I don't. Why would you say that? That's hurtful, blah, blah, blah. So we get into this huge argument. So at this point I leave and I go to my friend's house. And when I get to her house was about 30 minutes away. And so I get there and I'm crying. And so she says, Tanita, what's going on? So I told her what happened. She says, oh my God. She says, have you prayed? I said, you know what? I haven't. I said, my mom told me that it was gonna pass, but it's been 3 days. I can't sleep. I can't. And I was up and I was afraid. I didn't know what to do. And prayer was something I didn't think about. As much God-fearing as I had in me, this fear surpassed that. And any other time, I know what to do in a spiritual decline. But in this case, I was stuck. So she brought it to my attention. She said, have you prayed yet? And I said, no. She says, Tanita, pray. Guys, I prayed. And in about 10 minutes, I did a silent prayer to myself. I didn't share that prayer with anybody but me and God. And in that prayer, I can tell you guys now that I was saying that if you don't fix this, I'm not going to make it. That's how bad I was feeling. If you don't fix this, God, this is the end of me. You have to do this for me. Maybe 10 minutes into that, I got really sick, very sick. And I run to the bathroom. And when I ran to that bathroom, I began to throw up. And it was dark as this shirt that KK has on. It was black. When I finished, I cleaned myself up and I went back out of the bathroom. And my friend looked at me and she says, you look better. She says, lay down, get you some rest. I laid down, people. I slept for 24 hours. When I woke up, it was the next day around the same time that I had fallen asleep. 24 hours. Thank God for my mother, because I had my children at this point and she had them. That was the scariest time of my life, which made me respect even more. You know, we were doing all this laughing and talking about Papa Legba and this lady who supposedly summoned him and ended up dying after. But those things, we have to be really careful about delving into spiritual, worlds that we know nothing about. And energy, taking yourself into other people's, space, because you don't know the energy that you are surrounding yourself with, and you don't know what you take back with you. And so that was a lesson for me, and I haven't experienced this since, because I'm very careful who I go around, and I'm very careful who I allow to be around me. And so that's pretty much my story. So I know that that kind of thing is real, and it's scary. And any advice for anyone who's ever experienced something like that, something supernatural, trust it. Because it's happening more than likely. Some people will work themselves up so much so that, you know, it'll be basically a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it's just something that they have going on for themselves. But for the most part, trust it and work really hard to rid yourself of it and to just get around positive energy. So that's me.
Yeah.
You got something like that?
I play with a Ouija board. I have stories from playing with that, but I never got possessed from the Ouija board. But I learned my lesson with that Ouija board.
I ain't playing with no Ouija board.
I played with the Ouija board, and I know that's the hot thing going around. Y'all better be careful.
I ain't doing it.
The Ouija board.
I'm not playing with a Ouija board from the store. I'm not doing a DIY Ouija. Is it DIY? I'm not doing a DIY Ouija board. You know, people can draw it in themselves. Not. I don't want no kind of Ouija. I'm not making no pyramid unless it's my Delta Sigma Theta. I had to do that. That was awesome. But nonetheless, that's the only pyramid I'm making. That's it for my sorority. Other than that, I'm not doing it.
We
I'm
or
not doing
G.
Yeah, no. Not happening. Although I like the movie Ouija. That was pretty cool with the girl.
I didn't watch the movie. I was too scared to watch the movie because I actually played the Ouija and had a horrible experience. So
See,
I was
that's
too scared to watch the movie.
You didn't read the instructions, and you cannot play those things when you open
Well,
them
what
up and
we
close them.
did-
There's a particular ritual.
What
you have
we
to
did
follow.
was we had the Ouija board, and
God.
Kenzie was sitting here, Nicole was sitting here, and I was sitting here. We had candles behind us. We opened it up with the Lord's Prayer and asked if there was anybody there. There was someone there.
Are you sure? See, Lindsay and Kenzie. Lindsay and Kenzie is their names.
Nicole and Kenzie.
Nicole and Kenzie. They were playing with you.
Knew they were not. Because when we took all three of our hands off of that board and it moved by itself, I knew it was real.
Oh my God.
And
Well, I
I've
ain't
been here
doing it.
doo-doo on my life.
Hello. So I don't know how long we have been on this recording. I really enjoyed this. I like this
I
kind of
did
thing.
too.
I think we should do a mukbang. Listen, we should do the
Mukbang
thing
mukbang.
here where we chew in front of the camera. I want to do it with crab legs. Yes.
Comment down below what else y'all think we should mukbang. Really, we kind of just ate and told stories.
What you want us to muck it up with?
And we'll do it for y'all once a week. But you need to let us know what you want. Thank y'all for watching this video. Thank you for the support. We really appreciate y'all.
Yes.
Can't wait to see you on our next video.
Peace.
I'm gon' get it, I promise. I'ma keep it real, I promise. Woke up and went to the